What's up, YouTube? Welcome or welcome back to the Saving Men's Lives Network. Today we're going to listen to a young lady explain, in her own words, a tactic that is well worn and often used against us as men here in the dating market, as well as just in our interaction with them at all. There's going to be a lot to cover here, and we're going to come back and talk about it. Roll the clip.
Went on a date with this man. And I was catching attitude with him. And this man did not react at all. He wasn't mad. He wasn't like, oh, what's wrong? Blah, 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 blah. Like, he just went about his day. Didn't give a fuck. Didn't care if I had attitude. He was just chilling. What my response was to that? I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my attitude and for being moody. I literally apologized to this man. And he played me so well. By him not reacting and by him not saying, oh, what's wrong? And him just escalating the situation, he got me to apologize for my attitude.
Okay, so let's break this down.
Went on a date with this man. And I was catching attitude with him. And this man did not react at all.
Detail number 1. She gave an entirely unprovoked and completely unnecessary attitude to a man who took her on a date, who spent his time and his money, because I'm sure she didn't pay for anything. And that's how she sought to treat him. Gets deeper. Pay attention.
He wasn't mad. He wasn't like, oh, what's wrong? Blah, 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 blah. Like, he just went about his day. Didn't give a fuck.
Detail number 2. She found herself amazed, stunned perhaps, that he did not fall for her fuckery. Make no mistake, gentlemen. This was a purposeful attempt to disqualify this man. And I'm going to do an entire video on those, but this was an attempt on her part to sabotage the evening, destroy it, in the hopes that he would step out of character and give her a reason, excuse to not see him through and see the date further. He didn't play along. He didn't take a bite of the bait. And now she's perplexed because most men would have crumbled under this bullshit excuse for a bad attitude. Again, that had no basis in reality, was entirely fictitious and malicious on her part, and had no excuse for existing in the first place. This man's masculinity won her over when her instinct to destroy everything about the evening was at the forefront, and he smashed it to a million pieces and she never saw it coming.
Didn't care if I had attitude. He was just chilling. What my response was to that? I said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for my attitude and for being moody. I literally apologized to this man.
Detail number 3. This is where self-awareness comes into play. Finally, this is what happens when you hold frame and you don't give a damn about the bullshit that she's doing. This is what happens when you have made the decision that you're going to be who you are, that you're going to be the adult in the room. And she had to realize her childish behavior had no place and had no purpose. And to her credit, she finally apologized for her on-purpose bad behavior. This is important, and we're going to get more into this later. But I wanted to say this because I want to give credit where it's due. She did more than what most modern women would ever do. So she's to be congratulated for that.
And he played me so well. By him not reacting and by him not saying, oh, what's wrong? And him just escalating the situation, he got me to apologize for my attitude.
I'd like to go on record by saying I think this young woman is objectively attractive. I'm looking at her jawline, her neck. It appears that she may also be thin. So congratulations to her for not contributing to the obesity epidemic. But I want to say this. A fair-skinned, attractive, relatively fit young woman has gotten away with this shit a million times. I'm talking as far back as kindergarten, all the way through puberty, and certainly now in her, early 20s, I'm guessing. A lot of guys have played, oh, what's wrong, honey? Why are you so upset? Did I do something? destroying themselves in the process. Very few men have had the guts to stand up to her and put an end to her fuckery like this guy in the date did the night before. Now, I don't know if our hero got to smash or if he even wanted to after this, but I do know this. The impression that he made is one where he could easily come back and seal the deal. Absolutely. Because, and again, I want to give credit where it's due. She did eventually apologize for the attitude she had no business giving him. But you could tell there's some pride in there. Even in her apology, there was some pride in, oh my God, I had to apologize to a man. Yeah, you did. You were out of order. You were completely out of line. And by your own account, this man did nothing to deserve being mistreated by you. So yeah, the apology was the best thing to do if you ever want to see him again. See, our friend here, our hero of the story, is showing us the way for you guys who still date here in the West. So personally, I hate it. I despise dating in the West. I loved dating overseas. It was actually fruitful and enjoyable the way it used to be here, but no more. No more. For you guys who still want to date here in the West, to all my American, Canadian, and English brethren watching, shout out to you guys. Please understand, fellas, that women do this crap to test us as though they have the right, as though they have permission to test us when we're the ones bringing the lion's share of what's actually worthwhile and useful to the relationship. They come at us with these bad behaviors just to see how you're going to respond. And most guys crumble and fold. Most guys have done everything they can, because the thing about it is, fellas, women have watched us for their whole lives. They've watched us for weak spots to exploit. And they know that one of the good things and unfortunately bad things about men is that we are problem solvers. Another thing about it that dovetails with that point is that we love to see the women in our lives happy. Our daughters, our moms, our girl cousins, our grandma, and most certainly our romantic partners. When they're looking all down and they're looking all depressed and upset, our reflexive, which is something I'm getting to, working towards a point here, our reflexive instinct in most cases, until you train yourself out of it, is to come run to the rescue. Rodney, what's wrong? Why are you so angry? What's the problem? Or they sit there with their face all balled up, arms crossed, like a petulant child. No. Our friend here, our hero of the story today, showed us the way. And he reminded us of a very important fact that you men need to make yourselves very well aware of when it comes to your future dealings with women. Some of you guys are in relationships right now. Some of you guys watching me are actually married. I'm glad you all are here. The takeaway from today's story is simple, fellas. If she cops an attitude that you know you didn't do anything to produce, that you know there's nothing that you said that offended her, nothing that you did offended her, she's just being a bitch for the sake of being a bitch to see how you're going to respond, then you need to remind yourself that closed mouths don't get fed. She can open her raggedy ass mouth like she would any other time when she's talking about stuff you don't want to hear, dumb shit you don't got no concern over. She can open up her mouth and explain why she's so, quote, upset, unquote. And then you can talk about it like adults. Otherwise, and if she started the attitude and there's literally no reason for her to be doing so, you enjoy what you're doing. Doesn't matter what you're doing. In this case, he was on a date. And I'm thinking he took her somewhere that he enjoys being at. I don't know if it was mini golf or dinner at one of his favorite restaurants or a bar he likes to go to. People know him up in there. I don't know what they were doing. She didn't specify. But one thing we do know is that while she was carrying on and acting like an 8-year-old who didn't get what they wanted for Christmas, he was having the time of his life. He escalated the date into newer and newer platforms and newer plateaus. Maybe he reached out and held her hand. Maybe he kissed her. Who knows? She didn't specify that either. But she did use the word escalate, which meant that all her BS, all her bad to my man kept progressing it forward because, hey, I'm going to get this pussy eventually. If he didn't get that same night. I don't give a damn what you got going on. I ain't say nothing to you that would cause you to behave this way. I didn't do nothing to you to make you behave this way. So you're going to change your behavior, or at some point this evening, I'm going to drop your ass off and replace you very quickly. Never forget, fellas, midnight is always just a few hours away. And for my guys who are new here, welcome. Hit that like button. Why am I telling you about the clock? Why did I say midnight is always just a few hours away? Well, number one, it's true. But for more context, at midnight, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of brand new 18-year-olds enter the sexual marketplace as fully viable competition for women like her. She doesn't have to behave properly. She can be as belligerent as she wants. She can pretend that telepathy is a real thing and doesn't exist just in comic books and TV shows and movies. And I'm going to drop you back off. And when the clock strikes midnight, I'll replace you with someone younger, tighter, and better behaved. It's just that simple. And this guy showed several things on the course of that date. Number one, he showed an abundance mindset. I don't need you. You need me. He showed her that your bad behavior is, I'm going to do exactly what I would do with a petulant niece or nephew. Put you right in the corner and put a dunce cap on your head. Meanwhile, I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing tonight, which was dinner or whatever they were doing. He was enjoying himself. You can't argue by yourself unless you're insane. So when she realized her attitude and her being a bitch wasn't getting her the results that she wanted, wasn't getting her the attention that she wanted, she had to circle back, get her mind right, and make amends. So shout out to this guy, man. Shout out to him. He gonna probably blow her back clean out if he hasn't already. And I wish him well. Hopefully she's learned a valuable lesson from this. One she can teach her friends and family. I'm wrapping up there, fellas. That's my time. Like the video? Comment down below. Share with a friend and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Never let your brother suffer in silence when the truth can set him free. Networkers, we working. Until next time.